is Thursday, July 2. Welcome to CGN News. Puerto Rico has mandated all new arrivals take a coronavirus test or quarantine for 14 days. This after a number of outbreaks have been traced to infected travelers. The island's governor says the new rules will come into effect on July 15. All travelers will have to take a molecular swab test 72 hours before they travel and submit the results. Health Secretary Lorenzo Gonzalez says that only the results of a swab test taken 72 hours before departure will be accepted. Puerto Rico, which has a population of 3.2 million, is currently emerging from a lockdown which began in mid-March. The newly formed Jamaica Progressive Party, the JPP, comprising a team of churchmen, is promising to abolish income tax for Jamaicans, ban go-go clubs, and raise salaries for civil servants if it gains state power. President of the JPP, Gilbert Edwards, who migrated to the United States when he was 20 years old, says his party also plans to increase the national minimum wage and invest in a national airline. Edwards says the abolition of income tax will ensure that Jamaicans will have more disposable income to clothe and feed their families. The JPP is currently awaiting a formal certificate of registration from the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. Director of Elections Glasspool Brown announced that the Registrar of Political Parties was undertaking a review of JPP's compliance with registration requirements. The party will know by mid-July of its approval status. If approved, this will be the fourth party to be registered for Jamaica's 2021 general election. The Guyana Civil Aviation Authority, the GCAA, has delayed the reopening of the Jade International Airport to international commercial flights. The airport was scheduled to reopen its runway to that category of flights on Wednesday. But in a statement, the GCAA said it consulted with the Ministry of Public Health and has made some adjustments to its schedule. The airport, under the current phase, will continue to allow limited repatriation flights, outgoing flights, cargo flights, medevac flights, and special authorized flights. Phase 2, which is expected to allow additional repatriation and commercial flights, will now commence on August 1. The GCAA said that no airline has been granted approval for commercial operation. The newly created Anguilla Party, the progressive movement of Anguilla, led by Dr. Ellis Lorenzo Webster, pulled off a surprise victory on Tuesday's election. The progressive movement of Anguilla, MPA, took 7 of the 11 seats in Parliament, denying Premier Victor Banks and the Anguilla United Front a second term in office. The party, which was founded last year with Dr. Webster at the helm, promised to build a robust and viable economy based on the effective management of the island's resources. Overseas now, with the world battling the COVID-19 pandemic, trying to get a handle in controlling it, comes news of a new strain of flu in China. According to reports, the flu identified by scientists is said to be carried by pigs but can affect humans. This flu has the potential to become a pandemic. Researchers are concerned that it could mutate further, enabling it to be spread easily from person to person and trigger a global outbreak. The flu strain is thankfully not an immediate problem. At least 162 bodies have been found after a landslide at a jade mining site in northern Myanmar. Rescue work has continued for people still missing at the site of the Pakant area of the Kachin state. A wave of mud and rock triggered by heavy rain engulfed those collecting stones, the fire service said. Myanmar is the world's biggest source of jade, but its mines have seen numerous accidents, many involving people who scavenge for stones. Australia says it will significantly increase military spending and focus on the Indo-Pacific region amid rising tensions between the US and China. Prime Minister Scott Morrison pledged 270 billion Australian dollars, that is 186 billion US, to Australia's arms budget over 10 years, a 40% boost. He said Australia would acquire long-range missiles and other capabilities to deter future conflicts. He He added that it was necessary because the region was the focus of the dominant global contest of our age. Mr. Morrison named several areas of tension, including the border between India and China and conflict over the South China Sea and East China Sea. It follows deteriorating relations between Australia and China, which are widely seen to be at their worst in decades. Cameroonian activist Andre Blaise Esama has been on a decades-long mission to purge his country of colonial-era symbols long before the issue came to international prominence in the wake of the Black Lives Matter protests. His main target has been French World War II hero General Philippe Leclerc in the country's biggest city, Douala. Esama told the BBC that he has decapitated Leclerc's head 7 times and toppled the statue at least 20 times. The authorities see his activities as vandalism, arguing that African heroes can be celebrated without removing colonial symbols. Esama has been imprisoned several times for cutting the head of General Leclerc's statue, serving up to 6 months at a time. Each time he has damaged General Leclerc's statue in the main square in Douala, the authorities have restored it. His aim is to replace them with Cameroonian and other African heroes, but he will make an exception for those who campaigned for, quote, the good of humanity, end quote. He is especially keen on erecting a statue of Diana, the late Princess of Wales. That's it for your CGN News. I'm Scott Wilson. Thanks for watching.